Hello there, welcome to my views and news. Can you hear me, viewers? Thank you for responding with yes. Warm welcome to you. Warm welcome to all of you who have joined this live chat session. Two big developments which I will speak on in this live chat. I hinted at this development which is now uh, happening. I was interviewed by a journalist 3 days ago, and I talked about the challenge being faced by Orthodox Church in the Amhara region. Now we are seeing some positions taken by the church. Secondly, Tigray. Someone is saying that voice is cracking. Are people, are viewers facing this problem? I think internet is fine on my side. The internet might be a little slow. That is why maybe the sound a little cracking, but it will improve hopefully. Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you. Let me welcome the participants. Then two news stories. First one is about the church. Today's statements from two, not today's, the statements of the last 48 hours of two archbishops are very significant, pointing towards coming conflict. Secondly, Tigray. I talked about threat of new war in a live chat last night. It seems that today Tigray president made a request to the Ethiopian PM. Situation is so dire, so tense that Tigray is asking PM Abiy to intervene. Both these are very important developments. I'll speak in detail on these two developments and their uh, impact on the security situation, political situation in Ethiopia and coming days. Let me welcome the participants who joined. MT is the first one who said hello. Muhammad Mekashao, welcome on Mekashao, regular viewer. Tiago Mengisha, another regular viewer. Johannes TDF, my longtime friend, in touch since the start of Tigray war. Teddy fan, welcome. Teddy fan. A says, hello, Sajid. Goetom Gizai, big news from the savage Amhara Fano, please. I don't use these words, savage, etc. I just share their position with you. A says, again with the hat, yes, feeling a little cold. Teddy fan, is it a good news or bad news for Ethiopia? Obviously not a good news. I think conflicts are going to intensify. Nordos says, hello there, Mr. Sajid. A relatively new name for me, Nordos. Is for, okay, Bali, that's a greeting at this for. Speed 5, how are you doing? Fine. Good news says hi. Dilhas says, hello, Mr. Nice guy, Sajid. How are you? I just saw your interview on Move's show. Move's show? Mogus show, I think you're saying. You're great as always, impartial. Thank you, Dilhas. Yes, Mogus interviewed me. And by the way, I mentioned at that interview that the church was going to face a crisis in the Amhara region, and church will have to be very careful. Jabir Siraj, good morning. Thank you for joining, Jabir. Jabir, again, a long time viewer, a regular contact in touch with me for years. Welcome, Jabir Siraj. Mohammed Mekashao, Speed 5, Demisio Kibret. Welcome, Demisio. Gebre Madden, Bhalbi, Mihari Tisfaldat Gilana Chimdi Burji Suyama. Welcome, Bulji. Burji, after a little break, I think Tikim Tafira back to Yusuf Tadase, Yunus Abraham, Koang, Thurbil. Enter your name. Takli, Goetom, Abebe, Debebe, Eiler, Abira, 10 years ago, Yusuf. Yusuf says Somaliland president is in Ethiopia. Are they talking about Red Sea? Hana, hello. And dozens of others have joined to AZ King too, one of the members. Thank you for joining, AZ King. Nahom Mekonnen, Fikado Siyom, Lulu A, Bacha Garbi says, hi Sajid, you come live today on the same time with Jawar. We'll analyze Jawar's interview later. And I would request you to help me in understanding what he says, because let's hope that we can reach some common ground about Jawar's interview. I would like you to share translation with me and your understanding, because you obviously understand more than me. And jointly we can analyze Jawar's interview. Emmanuel Saleh, where can we find the interview? It's on Mogus YouTube channel. Hi, Sadi Success, Tekle, Mariam Sfao, Samuel Faleke joined too. Thank you for joining, viewers. Warm welcome to you. Always good to be with you for these live chats. Live chats keep me going. You appreciate my work, and you, Hassan Abdullah has joined too. Another regular participant. Welcome, Hassan. Now let me start, viewers. Let me start with the first news story, which is about the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Can I start? If you allow me, I'll start speaking. And later I'll take your question. We'll discuss that, what I'm going to speak on. Yes, it's cold. It's very cold here. MHJ says, I love you and I love your show. Thank you, MHJ. Church. Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Whenever there was a big political change in Ethiopia, there was change in top church leadership as EPRDF came to power, and you saw that Abune Mercurius was sent into exile. If I'm not correct, if I'm not wrong, his name is Abune Mercurius. And a new patriarch was elected. Church split. Church remained split. So 1991 was the decade of the start of big change. Ethiopia split. EPRDF backed the election of a new patriarch. Old patriarch had to go into exile. He remained in exile for decades. Second big political change in Ethiopia came in 2018. EPRDF had to go. EPRDF Prime Minister quit. Abiy came to power, and that patriarch returned. Before that, Abune Matthias had been elected. Two patriarchs worked jointly, but the main one obviously was Abune Matthias. So whenever there were political changes in Ethiopia, there were changes in top church leadership. And now, when Ethiopia is in a state of turmoil, the church is also facing crisis. Different types of crisis. Internal crisis. Tigray has revolted. Tigray has formed a separate entity, though it has not elected a new patriarch. It has not formed a separate synod so far, but it is on its way to complete split with the main church. Challenge from Oromia too, where earlier this year a splinter faction emerged. The splinter faction could not continue, but Still, there are issues. The splinter faction in from Romania, three archbishops were member of the faction, and archbishops from Tigray, they say that the church is dominated by one ethnic group. Ethnicity is a challenge. How to adjust all ethnicities in the church. Language through Afan Oromo, teaching church teaching the correspondence in Afan Oromo has been a demand of archbishops from Romania. The church is not united. Those challenges which church is facing from Tigray or Romania have been big challenges. But a bigger challenge now which church is facing, and that is Amhara region. Conflict in Amhara is obviously the movement launched by a resistance armed movement. But this armed movement wants to have church on its side. And we must not forget that Amhara region is perhaps one of the strongest bases for the Orthodox Church, Amhara region and Addis Ababa. Church draws its strength from Amhara, from Addis. Tigray is split now. So, church authorities have been in a difficult position. They became controversial in the 2-year-long Tigray war. Some archbishops like Abune Abraham, Abune Petros were supportive of the war. The patriarch condemned the war. He called it genocide, but he was silenced. The church became split. Now, when a new conflict is unfolding in the Amhara region, again, church is faced with a crisis. How to respond to a conflict in a region which is Orthodox Church's main base. Fano fighters want church on its side. Ethiopian government has made it clear that Fano fighters are using monasteries, church premises as sanctuaries. And in statements from the church, from government departments, government people, they've been saying that Fano fighters are using church premises. Church is silent. Not a single statement from the Orthodox Church on central level condemning the use of its premises by Fano fighters. Only Abune Ermias, the North Wollo Archbishop, condemned the activities of Fano fighters after it was fighting in Lalibela. And Abune Ermias then was hammered by pro-Fano elements. How to continue having Amhara region as its support base while keeping relations with the government good too? This is the challenge for the Orthodox Church. Is church going to be a party to this conflict? Is it going to be neutral? 2 archbishops spoke in the last 48 hours, pointing towards an alarming situation that the Orthodox Church is now taking sides. Orthodox Church was united by the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, by the way, because that patriarch was in exile when EPRDA was in power, but when PM Abiy came to power, he brought back that the patriarch, and church became united. But church mistrusts the Prime Minister now. Church believes that the Prime Minister's government is backing prosperity gospel discipline. That government wants to crush or weaken the Orthodox Church. In the private conversations, that is what church leaders say. So while we talk about Oromo, Amhara fight for dominance, we can also call it Orthodox versus prosperity fight for religious dominance in Ethiopia. This is another angle of Oromo-Amhara conflict. Two Orthodox Church archbishops have spoken in the last 48 hours, and one used very strong language against the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abune Lokas. Abune Lokas is a very outspoken type of archbishop. I mentioned in a video this morning that Abune Lokas a few months ago proposed that Fano fighters should fight their war in mountains, desert. They should not make cities, towns as battleground. But this time, Addis Kanatu, one of the members, has joined. Welcome, Addis Kanatu. But this time, Abune Lokas went after the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. He used a very strong language, as if the Prime Minister is a worshipper of Satan, as if he's a monster, as if he is a butcher, a killer. Not quote unquote, almost this type of language was used by Abune Lokas against Ethiopian Prime Minister. And he claimed that women are being killed, their bellies are being ripped apart, their wombs are being torn apart. I don't know where it is happening, whether it has happened or not, we don't know. But this is what he said. And these Orthodox archbishops have immense following in Ethiopia, especially in the Amhara region. If they are saying that Amharas, that the people are being massacred, it means they're talking about Amhara region. They're not talking about Oromia. They're not talking about Tigray. They are talking about Amhara region. And if they criticize the government, which they are doing, it means that there is going to be big public support for Fano fighters in the Amhara region. So Abune Lokas did not pull any punches. He lashed out at Ethiopian PM, as if PM is an evil man, evil force in Ethiopia. Obviously, he's frustrated. Amhara members of Orthodox clergy, top clergy, are frustrated. Why? As I said earlier, they're in a difficult position. Their support base has turned into a battle zone. They don't know what to do. They can't support Fano. They can't support the government either. So they're frustrated. Today's speech, the speech by Abune Lokas, was a manifestation of the frustration within Amhara clergy, top clergy of the church. Then Abune Yusuf spoke, another Orthodox Church archbishop. And he mentioned a biblical king in his speech, a king who liked wars. He also implied as if Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy is like that king who was fond of fighting wars. So both the archbishops are accusing the government that government is fueling conflicts, government is killing people, government is responsible for the massacres of civilians. It's a big development. Yes, Abune Matthias won't take sides. Why? Because he's pro Tigray. People won't like this comment. People say, Sajid, sometimes you disgrace the patriarch. I don't disgrace anyone. I cannot think of disgracing anyone. I respect everyone. But there has been a split between Abune Matthias and the archbishops in Tigray war. Same split is going to happen now, if it isn't happening already. Amhara archbishops are going to condemn the government, condemning the government, accusing the prime minister. Abune Matthias will remain silent. He'll be diplomatic, and he won't speak like Abune Lokas. That just shows the challenge which is being faced by the church. So far, church archbishops are taking individual positions. No one statement issued by the church, statement with consensus of all archbishops condemning government's operation in Amhara. But the talks, the speeches by Abune Locus, Abune Yusuf indicate that church is split now, and church is frustrated because of the military operation against Fano in Amhara. And church is frustrated maybe because of government's alleged backing for other orthodox disciplines in other parts of Ethiopia. So I see this as a big development. Abi church relations have not been very friendly since earlier this year. If you remember, when the three archbishops, Abune Vostatius, Abune Zena Morkos, and other one, they announced their split. Back then, the church accused the government that government was behind the splinter faction, and the three archbishops could not rally public support, and PM Abiy then mediated as if he was a supporter of unity of church. But basically, PM Abiy's government, Oromia government, backed that splinter faction based in Oromia. That faction could not get significant public support, and then it decided to return to the church. The church already mistrusts the Prime Minister, that PM Abiy wants to weaken the church. Now, the split between the government, Prime Minister Abiy's government, and church is going to widen. Maybe we'll see more such statements from Orthodox bishops. And again, I would say these statements would lead to immense increase in support, public support for Fano fighters. Fano fighters have survived so far because they have public support. And if Abune Locus, other top archbishops start supporting Fano fighters, it means that Fano fighters will be able to get more public support in the Amhara region. So this is the first important news story which I want to share with you. We should analyze the development. Abune Locus' speech should be analyzed. The language which is used is very critical, very strong. It shows that coming days are going to be more tense between the church and the government. Chiablio says, stop your disorganized show and support the winner, Fano. Do you expect me to support anyone? Come on. I am not here to support anyone. And don't write the same comment again and again. Please let others speak too. I don't support anyone. You have right to ask questions. You have right to write comments too, but just once. One comment should be written just once. Let others speak as well. Komsa says the religious leaders should stay out of politics. Yes, I agree. Gabriel, don't write the same comment again, please. Mojo says, do you still support EPLF, Sajid? I don't support anyone. People are accusing me of supporting Ola, Fano, etc. But I don't support anyone. Enter your name. Please don't write the same comment again and again. I'll have to block those people who are writing the same comment again and again. Please. And don't write hateful comments about other people, other ethnic groups. Avit Todra says, is Gatachoreda in touch with Eritrean government? I don't know. Tekim Tafira, you gave him the look scary. Nahome SFR, agreed, Sajid, keep it respectful. Yes, you have every right to speak here. I don't block anyone. Just two things. Please don't be hateful. Don't write any provocative remarks about other ethnic groups, other regions, other countries. Secondly, don't send the same comment again and again. I don't block anyone. I can take your criticism. Thank you, Vedis Tube. Shabia says PMRB must leave power, which he won't do, by the way. Budisuyama, they are not religious leader, rather politicals. Well, as I said, that politics and religion are intertwined in Ethiopia. Whenever there was a political change, there was change in the church top leadership as well. So church has always been part of politics. And now when there is a major conflict in the support base of the church, how can church remain neutral? The church is being tested. I would say church should be neutral because if it takes sides, it will become more controversial, which will happen, I think, because the two archbishop statements indicate that they have taken sides, clear sides now. Backfoot says, hello Sajid, hello Rome. It seems like Ethiopia has breaking news every day these days. I miss the good old boring days. Yeah, we should have breaking news, but positive news leading to some progress, betterment. But so far, breaking news is about conflicts, one after the other, more conflicts. Mike Tillahun says it is the duty of religious leaders to speak against inhumanity, as should we all. The church erred in not speaking out for the Tigrayan people during the Tigray war. Better late than ever. A very interesting point of view from Mike. The church has every right to speak out against inhumanity. But how to be neutral? This is the point. When we say church should be neutral, it means that church should condemn all who are involved in atrocities. Church cannot take sides. I'm saying church should not take sides. If church leaders want to speak, they can speak. But they should not call someone worshipper of Satan. And the allegations leveled by Bune Locust that women being killed, their bellies being torn apart. Is there any truth in these allegations? Did he verify? I mean, he's an important man. He's in a Bune, he's an archbishop. He should have verified the facts. He's not an ordinary man. That is what I'm saying. That church should be neutral. It should take into account the position of both the parties. It should not take sides. Ephraim Tisfaye says this dude only reads comments from his YouTube supporters. Well, I read comments from all those who have joined the live chat because for me, comments matter. My viewers' comments matter for me. And maybe your comments don't matter for others who don't read your comments. But I think your views matter a lot for me. I want your views to be aired, to be voiced on this channel. I read from all viewers, no matter from which background they are. John B. Fleming says, yes, we hear you in Louisiana. Louisiana, my friend. Thank you for your insight. Thank you, John B. Bacha Garbi says TPLF chosen don't involve the current conflict. I think you're saying the TPLF chose that it should not be involved in the current conflict, but they can gain anything if the situation suit them. Red Entertainment says, "Hi Sajid, good to see you. I just joined the chat. Happy New Year in advance." Thank you. He's from UK. Stay blessed, Red Moon Entertainment. Another very important point from Tadale Negusi says, "Don't you think this massive rebuke and criticism from the Pope is a sign of frustration that Fano is not progressing in military field?" No, don't agree. I don't agree. I think this is a frustration. This is a manifestation of frustration within the church. Church cannot openly support Fano. At the same time, it cannot openly support the government. Church is in a very difficult position. The church leaders are frustrated. It has nothing to do with Fano's advance or not. Natsanet Tikle says, "I like your balanced approach." Thank you, Natsanet Tikle. Exaber Yemasgan joined. "Hi, Sajid, how are you today? My son got Pak Pani mein hota dena. It's a holiday for me." Okay. Have fun, brother. Backfoot says, "Sajid, the church bishops itself is acting inflammatory these days. Their bias and borderline hate comments are instigating more violence instead of calming the situation." Yes, they should calm down the situation. They should try to diffuse the tension. They should try to mediate. They should try to be. They should try to find common ground. Their role should be constructive. But if they're calling one party worshippers of Satan, it just means that they have lost their status, which should be that of a mediator, I think. Do you think the federal government has full control on Amhara region, as the spokesperson said? No, he's lying, he's exaggerating. Federal government has no full control over Amhara region. Pisseha Johannes says, important point. Sajid, I wonder why this man is speaking out now while he was either advocating or quiet during the Tigray war. Because I said Amhara region is the support base of Orthodox Church. Church has lost one of its bases from Tigray. Church is facing a crisis in Oromia. It cannot afford to lose the strongest base now, and that is Amhara. So this is the frustration being faced by the church. Now, let me speak a little about the second development. We'll keep this live chat short today. 35 minutes have passed, maybe 15 minutes more, and then we'll end the live chat. Second development is from Tigray. Awul Ababiya says, Sajid, are you trying Ethiopian language? If you're trying, Afan Roma should be tried. I'm not learning any language. Language learning, it's a very long process. It takes time. I'm very busy. Don't have time. I wish I could learn, but which language to learn? Another problem. Now, the other news story which I want to share with you is from Tigray. For the last 2 days, we have been seeing tensions between Tigray interim government and Ethiopian federal government. Tigray government 2 days ago on Friday issued a statement. Tigray government said that there was a famine unfolding in Tigray. and it linked the famine to the possibility of a national regional security crisis. That sentence written in the statement was threatening. And Tigray asked the federal government, international community to intervene to avert a humanitarian disaster which could kill tens of thousands, millions even. Government responded. The Lagasse Tolo, the communication minister, responded, and he leveled serious allegations against Tigray, saying funds have been misappropriated, and the party which is feeding tens of thousands of fighters has no morals to speak about hunger in Tigray. He said there is no famine in Tigray, only drought in some areas. And he said that Tigray, the party in Tigray is politicizing the humanitarian situation. Already, Ethiopian government is giving more to Tigray, more than other regions in terms of aid. Getachew stepped in today. People call it Getachew. Getachew Reda today stepped in. Today, through his Twitter account, Getachew Reda sent a personal direct request to Ethiopian Prime Minister. He said that Tigray is not politicizing the humanitarian situation. Rather, the statement by the communication minister was an attempt to politicize the humanitarian crisis in Tigray. Secondly, he asked the Prime Minister to intervene. The Prime Minister should tell his government officials that the government officials should fulfill their obligations. Helping the people of Tigray, provision of aid to Tigray is the obligation, responsibility of Ethiopian government. He hoped that PM Abiy would respond. So a direct appeal from Getachew Reda to the Prime Minister. Question is, when Lagasse Tolo spoke, did he speak on his own, or what he said was the view of Ethiopian government, including that of Ethiopian Prime Minister? I don't think that Lagasse Tolo took a position without consulting the Prime Minister. What will the Prime Minister do now? Will he listen to Getachew's request? Or will he play the good cop, while Lagasse Tolo is the bad cop, and announce some emergency measures to help the people of Tigray? That remains to be seen. So far, the Prime Minister has not responded to Getachew's call for help. But if Prime Minister decides against announcing emergency measures to support the people of Tigray, what is next? This is the important question. Which options does Tigray have? What will Tigray do? Will Tigray put more pressure, diplomatic pressure, regional pressure, military pressure? Will it just continue issuing statements? Will Tigray send delegation to meet the Prime Minister? So coming days crucial regarding Tigray Addis Ababa relation. Wise is best. Why not, Sajid? In the Quran, God compared a believer, no, a disbeliever, to a dog. Please don't misquote any book. If you have question about any Quranic verse, try to understand the context, in which context it was said, because you cannot understand Quran without understanding context. Because Quran was revealed not as a complete book. It was revealed in parts. And the parts were revealed according to the situation on the ground, which was now, which was happening in Makkah, in Medina. So always try to understand Quran, keeping the context in your mind. That is how we understand. I'm not defending anything, but a layman can make errors, can make mistakes understanding Quran if he does not understand the context. Yamaskin says, Sajid, would it be possible for Fano to get stronger while ENDF goes to Romeo to defend Ola? Would Fano and TDF work together aside of the dispute territory? Well, I don't see a major operation against Ola. Still, I'm saying that Fano is the main target. Only one don't strike in Oromia so far. Even that has been rejected by the government. Government has not claimed responsibility for the don't strike in Horogodoro Valaga. Rather, Lagasa Tolo dismissed the claim, though Evangelical Church issued a statement 2 days ago confirming there was a strike on a church there in Horogodoro Valaga in Kambolcha, and two deacons, other church officials died. Church is denying. Church does not want to accept that its forces are involved in killing innocent civilians. So, no large-scale air campaign against Ola members. No attempt to lay siege to Oromia. Still, I would say that main operation is against Fano fighters. Likelihood of TDF Fano alliance, I'll speak on that in a separate video. I have addressed these questions in some videos, but I'll speak more. Koala is making fun of the heating system in my room. There is no heating system in my room. What's problem? So what's wrong with that? There is no heating system. Yeah, that is why I'm wearing these gloves. Bakagarbi says, I think Abiy gonna remind Orthodox Church that Ethiopia has the secular law to run the country. Will Church listen? Escol, why is Abiy so soft on Ola? Fano operation involve large-scale ground. It's very understandable. You cannot launch a large-scale military operation simultaneously in Amhara or Oromia regions. ENDF is already very overstretched. So start of a major military operation against Ola is going to put more pressure upon the Ethiopian National Defense Force. And maybe Fano was a stronger threat. The way Fano fighters were advancing towards big cities, they had made the entire Amhara region almost a conflict zone. So that is why maybe government thought that Fano should be handled first. After that, Ola. Musi Hapte says, Happy New Year. Musi Hapte, stay blessed, brother. MD says, Sajid, why don't you tell us what will Tigray do next, because there is an upcoming famine in Tigray? That depends upon what government does. Tigray is requesting the government. Maybe government listens. Maybe PMRB listens. So let's go a little slow, please. Jabir Siraj says, my question is, Sajid, what have Tigray have to do in case of war between Eritrea and Ethiopia? A lot of pressure coming from both sides to make Tigray on their side. Tigray has nothing to gain from this war. Tigray won't be part of this war. War is not coming, by the way. No war is imminent between Ethiopian government and Eritrean government. At this point of time, Tigray does not want to be part of any new war. Any direct open war does not suit Tigray. People dying there, famine, they're saying. They're saying it could be the worst famine in decades. How can Tigray think of joining, uh, think of becoming a part of a new war? Kemal says, do you think Getacheo's request will be a challenge for Abiy? Will Abiy listen to Getacheo's request? I don't think that Abiy will listen to Getacheo's request. Why? I think government is not happy the way Tigray responded to federal government's four-state solution to break the deadlock over Volkai Tumera Sagade Koram Myanmar. Government was hoping that Tigray would respond positively. Tigray's response was not positive. Tigray is not helping the federal government in the operation against the Fano fighters. Koala, come on, write in English so that others can read. I can understand your comments, but please write in English so that all the viewers can read your comments, and don't write the same comment again and again, please. So, Abiy's government is not happy with Tigray's ruling elite, including interim government, mainly TPLF too. So, request from Tigray for urgent aid and the response given by the federal government is indicative of underlying unresolved issues between the two sides. Umaskan says, I wish to all of the people inside that's here on live chat to have a happy new year. Bless you and your family. I think we should end this live chat on this good message from Umaskan. Let's hope, let's pray that 2024 is a better year for Ethiopians, for Eritreans, Ethiopian suffering since 2020. Wars, one after the other, conflicts, religious conflicts, ethnic conflicts, political conflicts, regional conflicts. No lasting solutions have been found. So let's hope that in coming days and months, Ethiopia is back on track and peace and prosperity and development prevail across Ethiopia. Let's end this live chat on this good note, on this message. See you tomorrow in the next live chat session. Till tomorrow, bye bye. Stay blessed.